My camera's dying, so let's try to make this fast. Guess what finally came in? Isn't it so cute? I'm like a professional now. Look at me. Hey, babes. Welcome back to MoonbaeCrochet. It's Brandy, and today I am bringing you 5 common crochet problems and how to avoid or solve them. And hopefully the audio quality is good now that we got our new mic. I'm so excited. At the time of filming, we are almost at 850 subscribers, you guys. I cannot thank you enough. Thank you, thank you. By the way, do you love my sweatshirt? I'm in love with it. I found it through like an Instagram ad. The company is called Dead Threads. And they make like all these sports themed like shirts and sweaters and stuff. But like everything is like skeletons and I don't know. It's just so cool. Look, he's walking 3 panthers. Hello. Football is almost back, baby. By the time this video goes up, I think we're like 2 days from kickoff. Like, yes. Finally, I wait all year for this, okay? This is the best time of year. Nobody can convince me otherwise. You got the holidays right around the corner. Spooky season is upon us. Pumpkin spice is back. Football's coming back. I love it all so much. I'm in a great mood, can you tell? And real quick, let's address the turtle in the room. Look at this adorable, like, mint chip turtle that I made. I am in love with it, okay? This is for somebody specific. When I showed my gingerbread turtle in the last video and I said that that was for somebody specific, this is also for the group of individuals that I'm making this for. I will address them all in a video coming up very soon once I finish the last one I need to make, but yes, I'm super excited about that. I'm so sorry I'm such a rambler, but without further ado, let me talk about the 5 common crochet problems that came to my head and how you can either avoid or solve them. So the first problem that comes to my head is like one of the main problems I think that so many of us crocheters face, and it is losing your crojo, aka losing your crochet mojo, losing your inspiration to crochet, feeling like there's so many things that you want to crochet yet you don't have the drive to actually do anything. I think that this is a very common problem. I go through this from time to time a lot. Sometimes it seems like I'm always crocheting, and then sometimes I go through these spats where it's like I haven't crocheted in days or weeks, and it just can get really I don't know, it's disheartening. Like, if it doesn't feel good, because, obviously we all love to crochet so much, but sometimes we just can't find that motivation. And this can happen for a number of reasons. There's no one reason why somebody will lose their crojo, but a way that I find you can kind of gain your crojo back, or, maybe stop yourself from losing it in the first place, is take breaks. I know sometimes we get super excited about these like new projects that we want to do and stuff, but if we start getting on a roll of either doing the same thing over and over and over again, or if we are just feeling like, oh, there's so many things I would like to do, but I don't feel like doing anything, just take a step back. Like, allow yourself to just take those couple days or however long it takes for you to step away, put the hook down, and just think like, I'm taking a break for a little bit. And like, now in your head, you're taking a break. It's fine. You're not stopping because you lost your crojo. You're just stopping because you need a break. And eventually it'll come back to you because you miss doing it. Like, it's something that you love to do regardless. So it'll come back, trust me. But if for some reason you cannot scratch that itch, like you really want to crochet, but for some reason your body is just not providing you that motivation that you need to actually get up. Maybe it's that you're just, there's so many things that you want to do and you just can't decide what you want to do. So you get like this decision fatigue, and then you eventually just end up not doing anything, and then you feel worse. It's like a whole cycle. If that's the case, I found sometimes what will help me is just like going on social media or going on Pinterest and looking at these projects that other people have done, and you might end up coming across something that you've never seen before, and it gives you that drive. It gives you that like push, oh, that looks really cute, or like, oh, that looks like it'd be really fast to make. And sometimes finding a project that you can get done like super quickly will give you that sort of drive back, because you can sit down in one sitting, maybe knock a project out in 30 minutes to an hour, and you're like, hey, look, I accomplished something, and it kind of starts that fire back up. Regardless, don't ever feel like you need to push yourself to keep going if your body just needs a break. We all lose our crojo from time to time. It is not unique to you, I promise. When all else fails, take a break, give yourself some time to relax, maybe go enjoy another hobby that you like to do that maybe you haven't done in a while, and eventually your crojo will come back to you. just don't force yourself to do something when you're not really feeling it, because then you could fall into resentment. You know what I'm talking about? Like you're doing it just because you feel like you need to versus you actually have the desire to be doing it right now. So, you know, take a break. Another common crochet problem you might run into is a pattern that you're working on just does not seem to be coming out right. Or you watch the video tutorial, you're trying to follow along, and for some reason your project just does not look like the one that you're looking at. Super common, and I fall into this a lot. I think one way that you can mitigate this is if it's like a wearable, for example. I feel like a lot of wearable patterns always include a gauge swatch, like chain this many and work this many rows in the stitch pattern, and when you're done it should be this size, like let's say 5 inches by 5 inches, right? I skip that step a lot, like a lot, okay? Like I cannot be bothered, right? But then also if I'm skipping that part, which is kind of integral, integral? That's kind of an integral. Oh my God, I don't know if I'm saying that word correctly. I'm thinking it correctly. It's just not coming out of my mouth correctly. It is an integral part of making any sort of wearable pattern or whatever. And so if you end up like making your sweater and it comes out way too small for you or way too big for the person that you're making for, I am having such a hard time with language today. If it just ends up coming like out to be a completely wrong size and you didn't do that gauge swatch, you can't really blame the pattern for that, right? Like that's on you, as it is on me a lot of times. So definitely, to avoid like your pattern not working out to be like the pattern that you're reading or that you watched, definitely do gauge swatches if they have that available. Definitely like slow down, repeat parts. If there's like a part of the pattern where you are kind of confused, or it's like it doesn't make a lot of sense to you and maybe it's a video pattern, rewind that part a few times. Maybe practice it as you're watching. Just watch it as many times. Maybe slow down the speed on the video in which you're watching it. If it's a written pattern, I highly suggest read through the entire pattern as if it's a book before you even pick up your hook. That is super important, I think, especially like that way you kind of, there's no surprises. You know what's going on rather than just diving into a pattern as soon as you get it. You start crocheting your item and then you get to like a part where you don't really understand what they're talking about. Or sometimes they have pictures included, which is nice. But if you kind of read through the whole thing before you even start, there's no way that you're not going to get like whiplash. You're not going to be surprised. You know what's coming. So maybe you can practice it beforehand and that can help you kind of mitigate that. Another thing might be like maybe it's just not coming out right because your tension is much different than the person who designed the pattern. Again, like with a gauge swatch, you would be able to tell if that's the problem, right? So maybe your item is coming out much bigger than they say that it should be. A simple fix to that can sometimes be just change the hook size that you're using. Like if your gauge comes out too big, go down half a hook size, right? And if it's still too big after that swatch, go down another half size. Like keep doing these like little changes until you get to the correct tension, and that can definitely help you out. You can even try to change the yarn, but I would try changing your hook first before you delve into trying to like change the yarn type and stuff like that. But yes, those things like that can definitely help you if you find that the pattern that you're working on isn't quite turning out exactly how you thought. Another common crochet problem that I tend to deal with quite a lot is dealing with pain, like physical pain. Sometimes I get on a super roll with crochet, right? Like I make like a plushie and I'm so excited and I just want to make another one right away, and then I start that, and by the end of the night I realize my wrist, my fingers, my palms, like this whole part of my body is killing me, and I didn't feel it while I was crocheting. Maybe it's because my like adrenaline was pumping or something, but I can definitely feel it afterwards. This is another one where taking breaks can save your life sometimes, okay? Overworking your body, even if it doesn't feel like you're doing that much, right? Like you're sitting there chilling, crocheting, the repeated motion of your hand moving can definitely cause you like some injuries. So what I suggest is definitely take breaks in between what you're working on, right? If you're working on a plushie that has like multiple pieces that you need to make, maybe after each piece, take a minute, stretch out your hand, your wrist, kind of like stretch out your fingers. If you need to like massage your hands with a little bit of like lotion, or use like a little hand warmer, something to kind of like treat your hands nicely as they are working on your project, that can definitely save you. As well as if you really need it, if you are somebody that maybe has some form of arthritis, or you just feel like you work with your hands so much that you are always feeling some sort of pain towards the end of the day. I have used, it was like Ace brand. I think I got it at Walmart. It was just like a little Velcro wrist brace. And sometimes it can make it a little bit more difficult to crochet with it on, but it definitely helped mitigate that feeling of pain by the time I was done. Like it definitely helped, you know, brace my wrist as I'm working. So that can be something to look into. You can definitely just keep in mind, like, be in tune with your body, because you don't want to end up getting like irreparable damage in your hands, especially when you know that you love this craft so much. You want to be able to do it for the long haul, right? Like you don't ever want to end up in a situation where you can't use your hands anymore because you didn't take care of them in the process. Another common crochet issue that I think a lot of us run into from time to time is that we have too many WIPs. WIP, if you don't know, stands for work in progress, and I'm the queen of having too many WIPs, and you know what? I just ignore them. But that's not good. And I know that like in the back of our head, they kind of like live rent free in the back of our head, right? Like we get excited, we get these new patterns, we're like, oh, like I want to work on that now, right? Except we have 3 blankets that we started 12 years ago. We also have half a sweater done that we meant to give somebody last Christmas. We have a few beanies that just don't have the pom-poms on them. Like there are so many WIPs, I think, that we just have tucked away that we always think, I'll finish that one day, right? But it's like the more new patterns we get and the more like excited we get for these new things that we want to make, we end up shoving them to the back of the closet or wherever we can't see them, and they just never get addressed. And that's no way to live. So for that, I would definitely suggest maybe, I know that this is tough, right? And you know, don't let me tell you what you can and can't do with your own money, but I would suggest, if you're somebody that likes to buy new patterns and stuff, maybe don't buy a new pattern until you finish at least one WIP, right? Like it can be your reward. Finish one WIP, I get to buy a new pattern, right? Something like that. Or maybe schedule out one day per week where, okay, like WIP Wednesday, for example, right? I used to do that, where you're like, okay, on Wednesday, I'm going to work on one WIP. And like, no, maybe you don't, if it's too big and you can't finish it in one day, at least add a little bit to it, right? Add 2 rows to that blanket that you're working on. And hey, maybe you might end up having fun and getting on a roll with it, and you'll add like 6 rows or something like that. But at least you know you put in a little bit of work towards that WIP, right? And then when next Wednesday rolls around, you'll go back to it, and you'll go back to it every Wednesday, and then eventually you're going to have that piece finished. Or if it is something smaller that you can finish in one sitting, you need to add a pom-pom to a beanie, for example, or whatever. Just, you know, pick a day, be like, okay, today I'm going to address that WIP. And then when it's all said and done, you're going to feel so much better that you at least got one project out of the way. And then if you feel like you're kind of getting overrun with all of these projects, start giving them away to people, or list them on Etsy, on eBay, or wherever you like to like sell things or whatever. Just, you know, to get them out of your space, you know, give them to people, gift them, sell them, whatever you need to do. Just list them, and then, you know, you can feel accomplished. I finished that thing, and now I get to go work on something else that I wanted to work on before, but, you know, the WIP was kind of looming over me. It's just a nice feeling. And the last crochet problem that we run into, I think, that I will list for today is just being overwhelmed. Now, this is kind of broad. It can mean kind of a lot of things for a lot of different people, right? For me, for example, it's like I have so much yarn. It's kind of like very cluttery to my life, right? Like you just see this tiny little corner here, but I see tons of yarn all over the place. It doesn't even look cute and aesthetic. Like I live in a small apartment, you know, it's not an ideal situation, right? And I know I need to like work through it. But yeah, so sometimes you can get overwhelmed with that. Or again, like going back to the whole whip thing, you have too many projects cluttering your life. Sometimes you have so many projects and patterns that you want to work on that you can't decide what to work on, and you run into that decision fatigue like I was talking about. So there's so many different ways that you can feel overwhelmed doing this type of hobby. So I think something that you can do to help work on that is you can, one, like if you have too much yarn and it's like overwhelming you, don't go buy new yarn, okay? I know it's fun and I know it's hard to resist, especially if you're like going to stores that sell it and stuff. But try to be disciplined with yourself and don't buy new yarn if you already know that you have so much yarn at home that needs to be used up. Shop from your stash. Treat your big, huge stash of yarn like it's a store, right? Go through old bags of yarn that you haven't looked at in a while, and I guarantee you're going to find some type of yarn in there that you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot that I got this, or I forgot that somebody gave this to me, and you're going to have fun with it. So just shop from your stash, work from what you have. Don't, over consume when you already have too much. Going back to like what I said in the last point, if you have too many projects that are cluttering your life, start giving them away as gifts. Start selling them on a platform like where you can sell your handmade goods. Just try to clear up your space a little bit. Like decluttering is like one of the best ways to get yourself to not feel too overwhelmed. I know it definitely helps me. If you have so many projects and patterns that you want to work on and you just can't even decide which one to do because you just have so many, one thing that I suggest, like I do this little series on my TikTok called Roll for Crochet. It's based on Roll for Sandwich by Adventures in Ardia. So if you've never heard of either of those, go check them out because they're really fun. But yes, so I do Roll for Crochet on TikTok, and it's this little series where I roll the, like the D&D dice, and they pick what colors I'm going to use, what type of project I'm gonna do, and it's just like a fun way to kind of get out of my like comfort zone or get out of my own head, and basically the dice make the whole decision for me, right? Like I don't even have to think about it. The dice decide what I'm gonna do, and then I just do it. And sometimes I end up with a fun little funky thing that I never thought I was gonna make, but it's fun, and then I completed a project and it's cool. Or if you don't have like D&D dice, or you don't want to do like a whole setup like that, one thing you can do is just write down pretty much all the patterns that you have, fold them up into little pieces of paper, put them in a hat, and then just pull one out, or like write them on popsicle sticks and pull them out of a jar. Whatever you want to do to make it like so that it's just random and you just pull one, and whatever you pull, that's the thing that you'll work on. There's just like these little things that you can do to figure out what to crochet without overthinking about it, like just let fate decide. So yeah, because I know like overwhelming environment, or just being overwhelmed and not knowing what to decide to do, can be such a hard thing to deal with, because then I don't know, in my case, I end up not doing anything, and it can be really frustrating, because then at the end of the day I'm like, wow, I really wanted to do something today, I really wanted to crochet a project, and I just didn't do anything because I didn't know what to do. So that is one way that I think that you can deal with that, and it's kind of a fun little random way to get it started. And then you might just take the ball and keep running with it, right? And like you end up deciding what you want to do. Like if you had a really fun time making the thing that fate decided, oh, well now I want to make one in this color, stuff like that. But there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video today on common crochet problems and how to solve them or prevent them. I hope this new mic did well. I hope we don't have too many audio issues. I'm sure I'll, learn how to use it more and more as time goes on. But I appreciate you guys so much for being here. Thank you again so much for always subscribing, for liking, commenting. All your love and support really means the world to me. And yeah, I just thank you so much for being here. So many more fun videos to come. If you have any suggestions for videos you would like to see on this channel, please leave them in the comments below. I am always open to your suggestions. And if you would like to share any of your beautiful projects with me, please feel free to send them to my email. It's always listed in the description box. So I would love to see your projects, and maybe one day if I get enough, I'll make a whole video showing off your guys' stuff. I think it would be so fun. Please have an amazing rest of your evening, day, weekend, month, whatever it is that you're having. Please enjoy yourself. Thank you again so much for being here. I will see you guys in the next one. Can you hear the ice cream man?